Volume 14 Summary Part 2. Elizabeth Sauron, human, 13 years old, female. The youngest daughter of the Sauron House of Dukes, a beautiful girl with blonde twintails who carries herself in a proud and haughty manner. Although she is talented, because she dragged her lackeys around with her and behaved like she was better than everyone else, the other students at the Hero Preparatory School kept their distance from her and avoided forming anything more than a surface-level relationship with her. She is actually a vain person, but that vanity was only compensating for a lack of confidence in herself. Earl Reimsend, who was supposed to be her backer, was after her body, and because she refused to yield to him, he heavily limited the support he provided her and forced her into a difficult financial situation. After school, rather than spending her time on studies and social activities like a noble normally would, she had to do part-time work, such as carrying out menial tasks for the Adventurers Guild, in order to make ends meet. She resided in Earl Reimsend's mansion, or rather, the detached building on its grounds that was little more than a small hut. Her mother was hospitalized at the Hospital of Psychotherapy, and the only one she could trust was her attendant Mahilia, who was raised with her like a sister. Fearing that Zona and the rest of her party members would abandon her if they were to learn what a vulnerable state she was in, she couldn't tell them the truth. There was no hope that her desperate situation would ever improve, but during a strategy meeting with her party in an empty classroom, she declared that everyone gathered there was a companion of hers, unaware that Vandeleu was in the classroom with them, which led to Vandeleu haunting her. After that, she improved her skills remarkably through Vandeleu's harsh training and even had her financial burdens relieved. Her goal of graduating at the top of her class, which she had initially thought of as almost impossible, is now in sight. Amelia Sauron, who was hospitalized at the Hospital of Psychotherapy, has been rescued. Earl Reimsend, who was after Elizabeth's body, has been removed from the picture, and she has become an imperial princess of the Demon Empire of Vidal. A year ago, she would never have imagined that she would find herself in such circumstances. Her mind is now completely preoccupied with her new stepbrother Bakunawa, who stands 100 meters tall, and her stepfather, who is a year younger than her and still haunts her from the shadows, referring to her with the Sama honorific. Compared to that, succeeding the Sauron house seems like an insignificant matter. However, the current head of the house, Ruadel Sauron, intends to hand over the position of Duke to Elizabeth. Because she has been given transformation equipment and received lessons from Kanako Tsuachiya and the others, it is possible that she will become a duchess who can sing and dance. She currently resides in Silky Zackart Mansion and is struggling with the mansion's complicated and mysterious contraptions, though she is fine with the mansion's residents as she has become accustomed to, or rather, numb to the presence of beings that are very far from being human. However, she has recently started to think that things might be bad after finding Mahilia talking to mice and doing things with Urita, Asaria, and Belmond.
Mahilia, human, 13 years old, female. A girl who serves as Elizabeth's attendant. She is the scout for the party. Mahilia's mother was an attendant who served the House of Knights that Amelia belonged to, so Mahilia serves Elizabeth herself rather than the Sauron house. Their bond is strong as they were raised like sisters, and for a long time, Mahilia was the only person whom Elizabeth confided in. Mahilia is generally willing to do anything for Elizabeth, so she accompanied her during the visit to Bakanawa and during the singing and dancing lessons, though she does question the direction in which Elizabeth is heading. She feels deep gratitude towards Vandeleu for saving her and Elizabeth, but she does believe that he will be a troublesome master to serve. Thus, she is interacting with a variety of people in order to improve her skills not only as a party member, but as a servant. This includes being taught various things by Tadano Nezumi, Saria, Rita, and Belmond, but she has not realized that Elizabeth has a mistaken impression regarding this. She is not talking to the mice out of stress, Nor is she interested in wearing male clothing or suits of armor in the shape of bikinis or high-leg leotards.
Zona Chino's dwarf, 15 years old, female. A dwarf girl with pink hair who is a daughter of a noble family. She is actually the daughter of a dwarf prostitute whom her noble father lavished money on. However, before she was born, her father made her mother marry one of his servants, and she officially became the daughter of that servant. However, as Zona grew up, her biological father realized that she was beautiful and blessed with talent, and took her in as his adopted daughter. Aware of her own complicated circumstances, she has grown into a tenacious girl with the philosophical view on life that it's important to find happiness while knowing one's place in society. Her mother is happy as she was able to leave prostitution, and because she knows things that Zona's biological father wishes to keep secret, she is able to live a wealthy life as a servant's wife. The man who raised Zona is happy as he is married to a beautiful wife despite being nothing more than a servant, and because Zona's biological father feels indebted to him, he is paid higher wages than others. He feels no discontent or despair, and by continuing his married life with his wife, he is able to provide for his other children, so he is happy. Zona's biological father is happy because although he pays extra money to Zona's mother and adoptive father because they know his secret, and because he feels indebted to them, his reputation remains protected. And he is the one who stands to benefit if Zona finds success in the future or becomes married to a man of high social status. And as for Zona herself, she is also currently happy because she was raised in a far more wealthy environment than if her mother had remained an unmarried prostitute. And although she is just an adopted child, she is still a noble, and because she is able to choose a marriage partner from men of higher quality than if she had remained a servant's daughter. In conclusion, the entire family is happy. Thus, Zona doesn't harbor any negative feelings towards her family. After she enrolled at the Hero Preparatory School, she became one of Elizabeth's party members, but that was because she had been requested to spy on her by Earl Reimsend, who held much power within the political faction that her biological father belongs to. She held no ill will towards Elizabeth. She simply thought that it would be best for her to give up on her ambitious dreams and be content with what happiness she could find. However, that was only because, like Elizabeth's other lackey members, she was unaware that Earl Reimsend was after Elizabeth's body, despite her being younger than even his own daughters, and unaware that he was poisoning Elizabeth's mother and using her as a hostage. If she had known, she would have advised Elizabeth to escape the Earl's grasp and even helped her to do so. With the unusual education given to her by her mother, she has used seductive techniques to get the 3 male lackeys in the party to do what she wants, and although she tried to use the same methods to get Vandaloo on their side, she failed due to the fact that Vandaloo attaches importance to muscles and due to getting caught up in the trouble caused by Alex. In the end, it was she who became a part of Vandaloo's side. She learned the truth behind Vandaloo and his companions before Elizabeth, and she aims to become one of Vandaloo's mistresses. She thought that there would be fierce competition with rivals for this, but that was not the case at all. For some reason, she is facing trials of a different kind than she expected every single day, attending singing and dancing lessons, being licked by Bakanawa, Orbom being on the verge of annihilation, and so on. Incidentally, Elizabeth's other lackeys are a tall and thin spearman named Mocked Hamilton, a plump swordsman named Taurus Zetz who also serves as a shield-bearer, and a bespectacled mage named Yusef Catalonis.
Amamiya Hiroto, human, 32 years old, female. Elizabeth's mother. She is from a family of knights, and she married the previous Duke Sauron, who fell in love with her at first sight despite their ages being as far apart as father and daughter. She bore a harsh destiny. The day the Sauron house formally announced that Elizabeth was a daughter of the Duke, the Amid Empire invaded, she lost her husband and was forced to flee her homeland. Although she is a member of the Sauron house, because she was of such low social standing, almost none of the Sauron house's vassals were protecting her. Although she was able to escape thanks to her father, Elizabeth's grandfather, protecting her, she was later caught up in the conflict to decide the next head of the Sauron house. There was the option of immediately giving everything up and becoming a commoner, but the Reimsend house, who took Elizabeth in, wanted her to take part in the race to become duke, and she was unable to ignore their demands. and even after she and Elizabeth raised the white flag in the conflict, there was no changing the fact that Elizabeth had been recognized as a daughter of the Sauron house. It was even possible that Rudel or Viedal Sauron would take Elizabeth away from Emilia to use her in a political marriage, which would be the worst-case scenario for Emilia, and one that she could not bear to think about. Her mental health suffered, and at Earl Reemsen's suggestion, she was hospitalized at the Hospital of Psychotherapy, but she spent years at the hospital with her symptoms getting worse every year. That was only to be expected, as she was made to take medicine that was actually poison that had negative effects on her, but later she began to believe that she was Duke Sauron's wife and that her husband was alive, and she would mistakenly recognize some men as her husband. After she encountered Vandalue, her symptoms changed in a way that made her believe that he was her husband, and these symptoms have not exactly been cured. Incidentally, Emilia recognizes Demon King familiars as Vandalue as well, and does not feel any conflict at the fact that her husband can exist in multiple places at once. Naturally, she is also entirely unbothered by their unusual number of eyes, mouths, and limbs, and by the shells and carapaces covering their bodies. When the above is pointed out to her, no matter how logical and easy to understand the explanation is, she gently tells them to calm down or calms herself down. If the person continues to point out these things, she bursts into tears and eventually lets out a strange noise and faints. She wakes up having forgotten the events leading up to her fainting. Now, Demon King familiars prevent conversations from proceeding before she gets to the point of crying, and in emergencies, Vandalue appears in person to cut the conversation off, thus preserving her current state of insanity. It would have been possible for Vandalue to use mental encroachment to play around with her mind, but because he is not confident that he can restore her to her previous self, he hasn't done this and instead continues to act like her husband when she is around. He seems to believe that she may be happier as she is now rather than if she were forced to learn the truth in an attempt to restore her sanity, risking her symptoms becoming even worse in the process. After she was released from the Hospital of Psychotherapy, she has been living in Silky Zackart Mansion, but she sometimes gets taken out by Demon King familiars to increase her levels. It seems that the overwhelming majority of Orbomb's nobles questioned not whether she and Vandalue have a romantic relationship, but whether Vandalue is trying to use her and her daughter Elizabeth to try and do something to the Sauron house. The reason Emilia possesses the apprentice maid and maid jobs is because despite being born to a house of knights, she did not have any desire or plans to become a knight, so she served as a maid at her lord's house to learn upper-class manners, though this is what led to the previous Duke Sauron coming into contact with her. After that, she gained the lady job as a result of learning the manners, etiquette, customs, formal dances, and the various other things that would be expected of a nobleman's wife, and she went through no further job changes after that. This is often the case for not just Emilia, but for the majority of noble ladies who do not need to learn to fight. She never even dabbled in magic in the past, but she has recently gained magic-related skills and jobs. This is because Kanako used Venus to transfer her memories to Emilia for leveling purposes, so she started with a feel for what it is like to cast magic and learned through practice rather than theory. As a result, she gained not the magical girl job, but the magical lady, and transforming lady jobs instead, and has so far managed to stay safe from the influence of a certain Princess Guider, though she is mostly unacquainted with Zadiris to begin with.
Name Amamiya Sauron. Race human. Age 32 years old. Title nun. Job transforming lady. Level 41. Job history: apprentice maid, maid, lady, apprentice mage, magical lady. Passive skills: mental corruption, level 7. Poison resistance, level 1. Strengthened attribute values, guidance, level 2. Self-strengthening, husband, level 1. Self-strengthening, transformation, level 1. Active skills: housework, level 3. Etiquette, level 2. Dancing, level 2. Bedroom skill, level 1. No attribute magic, level 3. Mana control, level 3. Fire attribute magic, level 1. Life attribute magic, level 1. Staff technique, level 2. Familiar spirit demonfall, level 1. Unique skills. Vandal use divine protection.
Kanako Tsuchiya Chaos Elf, 4 years old, approximately 15 years old in appearance, female. The very successful idol and producer, whose name even the king of the Orbom kingdom remembers. The impact of her reunion with Rikudo Hijiri, the man who once betrayed her, was diluted by her surprise at learning that Rudolph, the talented musician that caught her eye in the past, was in fact Randolph the True. Still, she managed to take sufficient revenge on Rikudo to feel satisfied. Because she was planning to expand her market in Orbom in the future, she was in a state of shock at the state of destruction the city is in now. However, she has recovered from that shock, deciding that things have become easier in a variety of ways, with Vandalyu revealing the existence of the demon empire of Vidal to the public and working towards Orbom's reconstruction and restoration. And not only that, but the people who watched previous performances and became fans were unharmed during the incident. Regarding Elizabeth and Amelia, she considers an extra rival or two to be of little significance at this point, especially given that she herself wasn't the first. In fact, given their societal status and appearances, she welcomes them as potential talents. She has awakened earth attribute magic to dancing earth magic and water attribute magic to lyrical water magic. It can be assumed that this is because she incorporated singing and dancing when using these skills. By using the singing incantation skill, which involves reciting incantations as if singing, she can make her spells produce greater effects.
Name Kanako Tsuchiya. Race Chaos Elf. Age 4 years old, approximately 15 years old in appearance. Title Reincarnated Individual Magical Girl, Evangelist Champion. Job Great Magical Girl. Level 75. Job history: apprentice thief, mage, archer thief, earth attribute mage, firework technician, magical girl, magical idol, magical dancer, artistic guider, magical singer, great mage. Passive skills: dark vision, mental corruption, level 2. Intuition, level 8, level up. Death attribute resistance, level 7, level up. Strengthened agility, level 7, level up. Detect presence, level 6. Increased attack power when equipped with a bow, very large, level up. Rapid regeneration, level 5, level up. Superhuman strength, level 4, level up. Magic resistance, level 6, level up. Allure, level 6, level up. Self-strengthening, ancestor, level 8, level up. Self-strengthening, guidance, level 7, level up. Self-strengthening, transformation, level 8, level up. Guidance, artistic path, level 4, level up. Artistic path enticement, level 4, level up. Mana enlargement, level 1's new. Active skills: dancing earth magic, level 1, awakened from earth attribute magic. Lyrical water magic, level 1, awakened from water attribute magic. Life attribute magic, level 10, level up. Precise mana control, level 1, awakened from mana control. Singing, level 10. Dancing, level 10. Dagger technique, level 5. Unarmed fighting technique, level 6, level up. Archery, level 6. Silent steps, level 5. Lockpicking, level 3. Trap, level 3. Throwing, level 3. Compounding, level 3. Artillery technique, level 1. Firework manufacturing, level 4, level up. Surpass limits, level 7, level up. Familiar spirit demonfall, level 6, level up. Singing incantations, level 4, level up. Coordination, level 2, new. Unique skills: Venus, level 10. Chaos. Diana's divine protection. Vandalyu's divine protection. Botan's divine protection. Vita's divine protection, new. Piria's divine protection, new.
Miriam, human, 17 years old, female. The virtuous battle maiden who serves as the leader of the Heart Warrior Brigade and respects the gods without being completely reliant on them. She is talented enough to provide leadership to heroes, or so the potential heroes in Orbom see her, but she is bewildered because she doesn't see herself that way. As far as Miriam is concerned, all she did was speak her thoughts honestly while being careful with her phrasing to keep the details vague and ensure that people would listen to her. And by acquiring the heroic guider job, she can no longer think of Vandalyu, Kanako, and Zadyrus's circumstances as troublesome but inapplicable to herself. Incidentally, in her private life, she gets along well with Arthur. What will tomorrow bring for Miriam now that she has become the fourth guider among Vandalyu's faction?
Borkus Zombie Great Legend Hero, years old male. When monsters were released in Orbom, he went on a rampage with the Majin King Godwin as well as Zandia and Gina, who were his party members when he was still alive. He is one of the undead who defeated numerous monsters and left a fierce impression on the people of the city. Because people with connections to the Adventurers Guild have learned that he is one of Talishheim's heroes, his existence has apparently dealt some damage to Duke Lucas Hartner's hair follicles, heart, and stomach. It seems that he was quite satisfied with the recent incident, as he was able to fight against Gujaranis. Perhaps because he has a fulfilling career as an adventurer, he has acquired Farmon's divine protection. I've met him before, but I don't remember ever praying to him. Is it really alright for me to have this, he wonders. The recent battle allowed him to successfully awaken Sword King technique to true Sword King technique. It is likely that he is the most powerful undead on the Bon Gaia continent in the ordinary sense. If one were to not think in the ordinary sense, the most powerful undead would be Knoken.
Name Borkus. Rank 16. Race Zombie Great Legend Hero. Level 63. Title Sword King, Grim Reaper of the former Scylla territory, Colossus Slayer. Passive skills Dark Vision. Transcendent Strength, Level 3, Awaken from Monstrous Strength and Level Up. Physical Resistance, Level 10. Attack Power Enlargement when equipped with a sword, Large, Level Up. Augmented Defense Power when equipped with non-metal armor, Very Large. Intuition, Level 7, Level Up. Mental Corruption, Level 5. Self-Enhancement, Guidance, Level 10, Level Up. Magic Resistance, Level 4, Level Up. Strengthened Attribute Values, Eating Demigods, Level 6, Level Up. Strengthened Attribute Values, Killing, Level 3, New. Active Skills True Sword King Technique, Level 1, Awaken from Sword King Technique. Unarmed Fighting Technique, Level 10. Archery, Level 8. Armor King Technique, Level 3, Level Up. Transcend Limits, Level 10, Level Up. Dismantling, Level 6. Commanding, Level 3. Coordination, Level 10. Teaching, Level 2. Transcend Limits, Magic Sword, Level 10, Level Up. Transcend Limits, Magic Armor, Level 7, Level Up. Familiar Spirit Demonfall, Level 5, Level Up. Unique Skills Vandalyu's Divine Protection. Talos's Divine Protection. Vita's Divine Protection. Farmon's Divine Protection New.
Tadano Nezumi Devil Mouse Chief, years old. The mouse that was given the name Tadano Nezumi and won the mouse imitation contest that suddenly took place in a hidden chamber of the royal castle. As a prize for winning the contest, he was allowed to feed on Vandalyu's flesh and blood that was imbued with his mana, causing him to transform from just an ordinary mouse to an imp mouse. After that, he and his brethren, who had also transformed into imp mice, played an important role through their information-gathering activities. Since the incident came to a close, he and his brethren have been living in a nesting box provided for them inside Silky Zakart Mansion. Now that they are monsters, they possess a higher level of intelligence, and they live in a far more hygienic manner than one would ever expect from mice, sharing their home with others without gnawing at the walls and support beams. It seems that Mahilia, being a scout, has much in common with Tadano. He is often chatting with her. He communicates with her by writing words with his tail. Tadano finds it a little strange that he gets along with Bone Man so well. After all, as far as he can tell, Bone Man is a skeleton. He went from being an imp mouse to a little devil mouse, and then a rank 4 devil mouse chief who leads the rank 3 devil mice. Because he has acquired the grow skill at level 3, he is able to temporarily double his body's size 3 times for a total 8 times increase his body's original length. He is normally about 20 cm long, but he is able to temporarily become 160 cm long, and in this state, he could fight a grizzly bear or a tiger on even terms. Even without using grow, he is capable of tearing off human fingers as if they're nothing more than snacks, using his tough front teeth and powerful jaw muscles. He is no longer a creature that needs to fear domestic cats or even wild cats.
Name Tadano Nezumi. Rank 4. Race Devil Mouse Chief. Level 0. Passive skills. Night Vision. Strengthened Olfaction, Level 7 level up. Endless Sexual Stamina, Level 7 level up. Disease and Poison Resistance, Level 7 level up. Strengthened Body Part, Front Teeth, Level 6 level up. Intuition, Level 4 level up. Rapid Healing, Level 2 level up. Strengthened Attribute Values, Vandalue Rank 10. Strengthened Attribute Values, Guidance, Level 2 level up. Superhuman Strength, Level 2 new. Active Skills. Silent Steps, Level 8 level up. Detect Presence, Level 6 level up. Surpass Limits, Level 3 level up. Coordination, Level 4 level up. Leadership, Level 4 level up. Unarmed Fighting Technique, Level 2 new. Grow, Level 3 new. Unique Skills. Vandal use Divine Protection.
Nachan Bone Dystopia Dragigas, years old male. The supermassive undead, whose existence not a single soul in Orbom is unaware of at this point. He has played important roles even after the battle. Although the royal castle did not collapse, parts of it are in danger of collapsing, and so the castle is unusable. Nachan serves as a replacement. He has also provided temporary housing for those who evacuated their homes. He has become able to take on an elder dragon's form after receiving Marduk's bones from Vandalue, and combining it with his already existing ability to take on a colossus's form, he is able to become an upright standing dragon that spits breath attacks of elder dragon venom. The sheer sight of him crushed any thoughts that King Corbett and his subjects might have had of opposing Vandalue, contributing to the work of dealing with the aftermath of the battle proceeding smoothly. He is likely the most powerful undead on the Bon Gaia continent, in the sense that defeating him would be almost impossible.
Quattro Death Emperor Flagship, years old. The most famous ghost ship in the Orbom Kingdom, having flown in the skies above Orbom and rescued people with the help of Quinn and the Gehenna Bees. She also provided support during the battle against Gujiranis with cannon fire and such. Even after the incident, she still sails the skies above Orbom in order to protect it from above and to transport materials. She provides peace of mind to Orbom's residents, but she and Nachan seem to be a source of stress for King Corbett and his subjects. And although this is unintentional on both her part and Nachan's, their existence and putting themselves on display puts pressure on the other duchies. Recently, a number of refugees from Orbom expressed a desire to become a part of her crew, so they have been taken in as new sailors of her crew, and they are forced to work under ethical conditions.
Hoover Human, 42 years old male. A psychiatrist, a profession that is rare not only in the Orbom Kingdom, but in the world of Lambda as a whole. Or to be more precise, psychiatry has not yet been widely accepted as an academic field in the world of Lambda. However, it is commonly known that abnormalities in the mind do occur, as represented by things such as the acquisition of the mental corruption skill. However, it is difficult to treat mental scars even with magic, So, it has long been the case that people never have much choice but to leave such patients in the care of churches. Hoover was a doctor who tried to rise to the challenge of changing that. However, his efforts yielded no success, and he ended up turning a blind eye to the corruption that was occurring at the Hospital of Psychiatry, such as the fact that the medicine given to patients was in fact poison. In that regard, he can be said to have been complicit in Amelia's suffering. However, he was later guided by Vandeleur and distanced himself from the director of the hospital. Still, he remained unable to rid himself of the guilt of what he had done and chose to be punished with the rest by willingly eating the full-course meal that contained the medicine made by the director. However, after Vandeleur removed the poison from his body, he has been working as a psychiatric specialist in Thalesheim, though there are many patients who now suffer from trauma in Orbom, leading to him making a sudden return to his former workplace. The former director of his former workplace is now little more than a mannequin who is incapable of doing anything other than reception work, and the hospital itself is now one of the facilities where the patients guided by Vandeleur reside and where Demon King familiars stay. When Rikudo unleashed monsters upon the city, a swarm of Demon King familiars came out of the facility to protect it, though there were few monsters attacking the facility, as it is located in a place where nobody lives. Hoover was a knowledgeable, skilled, and experienced doctor to begin with, having been able to immediately tell at a glance that Vandeleur was insane beyond the point of being treatable, but this went unnoticed by not only his colleagues, but also by Vandeleur himself, who is under the firm impression that he is not insane.
Hadros Jehen Titan, 135 years old. A Titan born to human parents through atavism, belonging to the Jahan house that rules over the Jahan Duchy, which has historically had a large number of Alda worshippers. Although he was born as a member of a race created by Vita, he grew up in an environment where those around him were all humans who worshipped Alda. In order to survive in such an environment, he lived as a devout worshipper of Alda himself. To him, his religious devotion was something necessary for him to gain the right to live in the community that was the Jahan house. He did not sincerely worship Alda. Thus, Alda himself does not consider him to be a devout worshipper. However, the people around him, especially the inhabitants of his duchy, know him as a worshipper of Alda more devout than any other. He is highly capable in combat for a duke, being most proficient with unarmed fighting technique. He set his sights on Vandeleur and met with him in an attempt to form connections, but even after he ended up being guided and joining Vandeleur's side, his public image remains as that of a worshipper of Alda. Naturally, Alda sent divine messages telling his own worshippers of Hadros's betrayal, but this has not had much effect due to the strong trust that society has in Hadros, who advocates for the people to accept the savior Vandeleur, or at the very least see him and hear what he has to say before making any decisions. On one hand, there is a duke who has been famous for being a devout worshipper of Alda for about a century and has ruled his people fairly. And on the other, there are church-affiliated Alda worshippers whose names and faces are known only to those who are very well informed. There is no question as to which side the people of his duchy would choose to believe. Hadros is taking this opportunity to make every effort he can to fill his duchy with the guidance of Vandeleur and his companions.